I apologize for the third part of this video, this Sunday school lesson. My camera on my phone is acting up, but I assure you that these are very short parts. And so I'm just going to continue on with verse 14, which is the last verse, thank God. And another thought that I wrote on here is that humility in prayer brings out truth and strength in prayer. And so when we're humble approaching God, as I was saying before I got cut off, that the continuity of prayer requires a continuity of faith. And this is why verse 8 was written, when the Son of Man return, will he find faith on earth? And this is the very thing that coming after the parable of the unjust judge, now we get a glimpse of what Jesus is going to judge us about. Not about those very shallow things. Not about whether we came to the temple on time every day or every Saturday, or came to church every Sunday, or came to Bible class every Wednesday, or came to prayer service on Thursday, and we was like in church almost 6 days, 7 days out of the week. Those things are not going to get you to heaven. What Jesus is going to come back and judge us on is not those works, not our righteousness, but he's going to judge us whether we have faith. And that's what verse 8 actually says. And I'm going to repeat it again. I'm going to repeat it till it comes home into your spirit. It says, nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on earth. And so this is the thing that he's going to come back and judge what needs to happen in people, whether there's faith in the people, faith in the earth. And so if he finds faith, those people who have faith, this is the victory that we have, even our faith. That's First John chapter 5. And it's true. Without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. And so even in that, faith is the very thing that we need to approach God. Faith is the only way we can pray. And faith in the very truth of God will cause us to humble ourselves. Humility is an action of faith. If you have faith, you will know better. You will respond appropriately about that. And I've mentioned this before in times past, how we ought to approach God and how we ought to behave. It all depends on our faith. If we believe, we will actually behave differently. That's if we believe. But if you believe flippantly and loosely and don't really believe everything, then you're going to be okay saying a prayer like this Pharisee said. You're going to be okay making known your works. You're going to be okay with doing any old thing and sinning and being all right with the things that are going around in the world. And so faith actually causes us to be humble. It says it brings out this is what I wrote, that humility in prayer brings out truth and strength in prayer. God hears our prayer when we humble ourselves, when we abase ourselves. Verse 14, I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. And so it's kind of like the idea that he that is first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Everyone who thinks that they should be first is going to be last. And everyone who thinks that they're last because they're not regarding it at all, they're going to be first. And it's just a way of behaving. And a humble faith is very important. This is today's Sunday school lesson. It's called Humble Faith. And it's a wonderful lesson. I hope that I brought out both, even from verse 1 through 8, that parable and today's lesson 9 through 14, this parable, because it was all together. It was a amalgamation of prayer and how we ought to always to pray, and when we do pray, pray humbly. And the inner working of all of that is faith, because without faith we don't approach God. Without faith we will not continually pray. Without faith we will not humbly pray. And so we need faith. Faith pleases God. And like I mentioned in the first part of this, how with faith, true faith, believing faith, that it changes our behavior and all our works, thereby it comes up to God as a sweet smelling savor. It's beautiful to God. He loves genuine faith. And he does not like people showboating. He does not like pride. Pride goes before a fall. And it's just a terrible thing for a person to be proud and think that they're going to receive anything of the Lord, because when the time comes and the Lord comes and he's looking for faith on earth, faith does not cause people to be the way that this Pharisee was. And I admonish you to make sure that you are considerate of others in your prayer, and that you see yourself, that you look at your own mirror and say, look, I'm not coming to God any old way. I'm going to come to him correct. I'm going to speak the truth and be honest about my state and who I am in front of God. And so whatever I have need of, God is going to hear my prayer. That is not going to bounce on the wall. That is going to go through the atmosphere. That is going to make it past those princes and principalities in darkness and spiritual places. That is going to soar beyond that. Make it to heaven. Make it to the throne. And God's going to hear, and he's going to dispatch an angel. He's going to dispatch somebody. He's going to go. He might even come himself. Who knows? God did it before. He can do it again. And if he's done it for many people in chapter 11 of Hebrews, all the Hall of Faithers, if he's done it before, why won't he do it for you? For his elect, for the one who believes in him, for the one who walks humbly with him. Be humble and have faith. Have humble faith in Jesus' name. God bless.